I've learned not everything needs a dramatic weeks-long rollout or social media hype. So the other day, I decided to just start a voice note talking about everything that's been on my mind, and it accidentally turned into a 16-minute long rant. So here is that rant, just with some footage of me crocheting the other night, just to kind of get out there where I've been and what I've been thinking about and the different changes that are coming to my shop and my brand in general. So enjoy. Hello. I am kind of sick of being consumable when it comes to my crochet work. It started off with me making too many things, so I figured at the time I needed money, which, now I also need money, but thankfully I have a full-time job that carries me decently. But I've always saw my crochet work as something that I can offer to people as monetary exchange. I am privileged enough to have a full-time job that can supplement me in that area. However, it is, not a overly paying job. And also, the amount of work that I put into my crochet items, I would like to get that money back. I don't know why I'm justifying selling my items. But I guess that goes to show that, any time that I've wanted to sell something, it always feels like a shrinking myself of, I put this out there, here's this $120 sweater, but oh my God, please don't pay $120. That's so expensive. That's absolutely too expensive for a sweater. Disregarding the fact that I have 10 years of crochet and knitting experience longer in crochet. And, said sweater took me days to make. Honestly, $120 is a little cheap, if I may say it. But then that's also where I have been stuck for years. I want to sell items at a price that's fair for me, because I understand things are cheap because somebody's not getting paid, essentially. I don't ever want to contribute to that, which is why I started Zombie & Co. to kind of start over and know my worth of my items a little bit more than I did previously. But the caveat with that is I am now no longer the average person friendly when it comes to price, which really sucks because I couldn't afford my items. And I don't, I guess that's why I've struggled to find my audience, because people who have the money to drop on a $120 sweater, the people who have the money, the ones who experienced my table, will come by, scoff at them, and think it's some arts and crafts, or that it's not worth the $120, that they could get it cheaper from Target, or I could get your $15 bandana from Target for $5, let's say. And the ones who appreciate my items and understand the time and effort that goes into it don't necessarily have the $120 to drop on my items. And that's where I just get kind of stuck, because maybe this all boils down to I just don't know my audience, which is fine. Maybe I just haven't met it yet for 5 years. Who knows? I don't know. But I guess that all comes to show that thinking about the business side of things and the monetary part of it, the business side, the taxes, the social media management, the making and recording YouTube videos to make sure it makes sense, the editing the videos, the taking pictures for my website, posting it on my website. It's all become too much. And I've been struggling with that for probably about the last year, that I've been fading in and out of my online presence, because it's just hard and it's overwhelming, and it really sucks because I do like to create. That's what I do all the time. I'm crocheting in my downtime constantly. If I'm not doing something, I'm crocheting. If I'm not working, I'm crocheting. If that's just my hobby. That's just what I do. Some people play video games, some people watch movies or TV shows. I listen to audiobooks and 3-hour YouTube videos about 1800s horror literature. I don't know. So that's just like me to my core. And all the rest of it has become noise that like has taken over, for to say it bluntly, I guess. It's taken over, and it's kind of like a thing to where it's like, this isn't fun anymore, which really sucks. I've reached this point before in my shop, and I've been able to get over it. I've been able to like make new items, rejuvenate myself, like that kind of thing. But this time, I think I'm just done. Not done with my shop, maybe, but I'm done existing with my shop in the way that it's been existing, and consumable. I don't know if I want to be consumed at this point. I've already mentioned that I know my prices are not the average person friendly. I understand that, but I also understand and have been told, never assume people have the same amount of money as you. But at that same point, if things aren't selling, then that honestly hits me a little bit personally and makes me feel like shit that I'm not doing enough or not making enough, or the things I'm selling aren't good enough. And then going to markets and almost having that like reaffirmed of, people will look at my items and be like, oh, I wish you had this in another color. Oh, I would have bought this if it was in neutrals. Oh, I would have bought this if it was in bright pink. And I'm just like, I don't know what you want from me. And I think I'm just kind of done with that feeling. Recently, I took a week-long trip to Southern California with a good friend of mine. And that was the catalyst for all of this. Going through art museums, walking around, being in nature, being in a city that like I genuinely wish I could live in, but it's way too expensive for me to exist in, and just kind of that like disconnect of wanting your life to look a certain way and be a certain way, and getting a little like step into that, and then realizing that like right now I'm not in the place to have that happen, and it kind of sucks. But in all of this, I kind of took away of like, how can I make that life for me at home? How can I take this just surroundings of inspiration and creativity, how can I take this and bring it at home? And that ended up coming in the form of going to the Huntington, looking through the contemporary modern art section and realizing I can do this, like in the least pretentious way and the most motivating way of, I can fucking do this. It made me realize, let's say like, I don't know. I actually don't remember where it was. I think it was at the Getty when I went to LA a year ago, but it was these two giant vats of pure glass. Like, they said they weighed like multiple tons. Just reflective glass that was about as tall as I am, about like 5 feet. And they had a security guard in there that was like, don't touch the glass. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to touch it. I'm just looking. And when I see things like that, and then you read the little plaque that's next to it, it's like, oh shit, like, this artist really knew what they were doing. This artist really had a point to get across. And like, this is how they wanted to get it across. There was another exhibit that was at the Huntington, to where it was, I forgot her name, but it was a room to where it was like a night scene, and there was a canoe with different chairs in it. There was like a bird cage on one. There was, I think, like a raccoon somewhere in there, and it was a canoe on top of like a bunch of branches. At first glance, like, you probably look at it and think, okay, wonder what this is about. And they had a little video that was on the side of the artist talking about the piece, and like every single detail in that piece meant something. And that was another moment where I was like, dang, I could do this. Like, I could really take my medium of crochet or knitting and transform it into something that comes from my core. Which sounds very dramatic for somebody who has only made sweaters and beanies and the like for like over 5 years. But the struggle that I've also had this, I'd say last year or two, is that I've had that artistic soul almost of like, I don't know, it feels like artistry rather than like a crochet wearables maker, a maker, I don't know. Maybe that's the difference. I feel more like an artist rather than a maker at this point. Don't know if there's a Venn diagram for that or if there's an overlap, but I feel like I'm leaning more on the artist lately. And that's why nothing I've made connects in the right way that I want it to. So when I saw all this inspiration and I thought, wow, I could do that, I got an idea that like randomly hit me. I don't even remember when it was. It was on like one of the last days of my trip. That was an idea that sums up my entire creative process and how I've felt stuck. And to visually show that. And like show the issues I've been going through for like the last year of just making something and feeling good enough to put it out there. But I'm not going to do it right now, which is like really accurate to it, right? I'm not going to do it right now, but it's in there. It's in my head. And I feel really dramatic when I think of these ideas that I have and imagine them on like one of those shiny white pedestals or like hanging on a wall with a little plaque that says like my inspiration for the piece. And so right now I feel like I'm just rebuilding, and that's my end point. So all to say that I am going to get rid of everything that I have. And it really feels momentous because I've had this stuff for years. But at the same time, I've had this stuff for years. People have passed it by. People have touched it, have tried some of them on. Don't worry, I clean them. And it's almost like this is just dramatically the things that have been left over. And I've been carrying them with me quite literally in my car, market to market. They're just sitting in bins. They're sitting unworn. They're sitting unused for whoever knows what reasons. And I feel like in order for me to get a solid start over, clear my mind, go forward how I want to in the way that I now envision it, I have to get rid of it all. It kind of sucks because maybe it feels a little bit of like, I want to hold on to it forever because it means a lot. But like, this is where it's gotten me holding on to it forever. It feels like a weight. It feels like an anchor almost. So all of this to say, and all of this to justify and to get it out there of a moment of understanding that I will be putting all of my items on heavy discount coming up soon. I'm not entirely sure when because I still have to take pictures and measure and do all the admin stuff for it, which maybe this is going to be one of the last times that I do that. I don't know. So I still have to do all that and then get them online. I'm thinking things will probably be about 50 to 75% off just to get them out of here. So if you've ever wanted an item, now would absolutely be the time to get one. Like I said, I don't know when it's going to be coming, so follow me on all the socials. See when I post about it. See the next chapter of Zombie & Co. If it even stays Zombie & Co. I don't know. I don't know where we're going to go, but I have already started on my first art piece, which it feels insane to say that, but it is an art piece. I think it's really appropriate for my first piece to be this. I've been working on it and I can't wait to get it out there. I think it'll definitely explain where I've been mentally. And then secondly, this doesn't mean that I'm never going to make wearables again. Honestly, I make wearables because I just enjoy making them. So even right now, I have like 2 sweaters that I've made. I will still probably post the sweaters that I make if I don't keep them. But maybe releases will be more seasonally, more quarterly, annually. I don't know. But that's about it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you on the other side of this. If you've wanted an item, then please follow me on socials. Follow me on Instagram. That will probably be the first place that I post about it. And I hope to see you later. Bye.